They say I gave my mother 40 whacks. But what if I told you that story was never true? I am Lizzie Andrew Borden, born in 1860, the second daughter of Andrew and Sarah Borden. You know my name. You've whispered it, mocked it, sang the rhyme like a lullaby for murder. But behind that rhyme lies the blood-soaked truth. And it's time I told my side. Our home on 92 2nd Street was a cage. Father held the key. Andrew Borden was rich, not in warmth, but in coin. He counted every penny, locked every door, and buried love beneath thrift. When Mama died, he married Abby Durfee Gray. To me, she was never mother, just an intruder bloated with inheritance schemes and stomach-turning perfumes. The only warmth I knew came from my sister Emma. We were allies, in silence. And then there was Uncle John. August 3rd, 1892. Uncle John arrived unannounced. He said he came on family business. But honestly, the air changed when he walked in. Uncle John was odd, secretive. He dealt in horses and whispers, and he was angry at my father for cheating him out of land and money. That night I barely slept. I heard murmurs, voices under the floorboards. Something was building, something final. The house held its breath. Shadows pressed against the walls, and every creak of the floor seemed louder than before. I could almost feel secrets curling through the hallways, slipping beneath doors, waiting for morning. Sleep was impossible, really. My mind kept circling back to Uncle John's angry eyes, and I wondered just what exactly he had come to settle. The day began with heat, suffocating heat. Abby went upstairs to tidy the guest room. Father left for a walk. Bridget, our maid, groaned about washing windows in the heat, and I stood in the kitchen, waiting. Something pulled me up the back stairs. I don't remember climbing, only that when I reached the top, Abby was there. Her back turned, her hands straightening the pillows, and then a single wet thud. Then another, 13 more. Her skull cracked like a porcelain dish, her body slumped, and I stood there numb, not with guilt, but freedom. He came home tired, laid down on the settee, eyes closed. I watched him sleep, this man who ruled us with silence and scorn. Then I walked behind him. 11 crushing blows. The room splattered in red. He never even opened his eyes. I changed my dress, burned the old one in the stove. When the officers came, I was calm. Too calm. Bridget was shaken. Emma wasn't home. Uncle John, missing for hours. I told them I was in the barn looking for sinkers, but the dust on the floor said no one had entered. They found no blood on me, no murder weapon, only a handleless hatchet hidden in the basement. Then came the whispers. She's guilty. So they arrested me. June 5th, 1893, my trial began. 12 men, all strangers. None of them would ever understand what it meant to be a Borden daughter. The prosecution called it a woman's crime, done in silence, with fury. They presented the hatchet, now rusted, my burned dress, contradictions in my alibi. Then Bridget testified, said she heard nothing. Emma swore I was innocent. Uncle John, cold, evasive, calculated. Decades passed. Then a book surfaced by Rich Little and Beverly Folstad. Inside were secrets, family secrets. They found letters, court documents, and the true story from Uncle John's journals. He knew more than he let on. Turns out, Father had written him out of the will. Abby, too. And on August 4th, 1892, John Morse wasn't just visiting, he was finalizing revenge. The authors uncovered evidence the police never did. A hidden agreement over property, a blood-stained shirt buried beneath floorboards of John's old room, witness testimony buried for decades. A neighbor saw a man leave the Borden house at 11:15 a.m., not Lizzie. Uncle John may have killed Abby, and I, seeing what he did, may have taken care of Father. Not guilty. The courtroom gasped. Some wept, some laughed. I simply exhaled. I moved to the hill, bought a grand house and named it Maplecroft. But you know, Fall River never forgave me. Children whispered, neighbors stared, Emma left me, even Bridget fled, and I remained, alone, in a house filled with clocks that never ticked loud enough to drown the past. I've carried this secret for decades, but now, with death near, I leave it here. Abby was murdered by John, Father, by me, not for greed, not for madness, but for silence, for peace. Because no one ever asked what it meant to be a woman in chains. They just called me a monster. But in truth, I was only ever a daughter, desperate to breathe. Let them write their rhymes. Let them chase ghosts. I was not a monster. I was a mirror. And the face they saw was their own. Lizzie Borden died in 1927. She was never convicted of the murders of Andrew and Abby Borden. New evidence from the book Cold Case to Case Closed continues to raise questions about what truly happened that day.